It's Thursday, April 6, 2023. This is Sensei John, and let's get right into it. So what's happening right now in the United States is an all-out attack, all-out war, chemical war, chemicals in our water, chemicals in our food. Just today, I heard on the mainstream news that red dye, yellow or red dye 3 or yellow something else, that they're being recalled from Skittles and all different sorts of junk food, basically, because they cause cancer or other things. That's just one. Then we've got the fluoride in the water. Then we've got all the other chemicals and toxins that are constantly being put into the food on purpose. And then we've got the mRNA, which is being put now into the cattle, into the vegetables. And I'm going to have more on that at another time, but just understand that it's an all-out attack. We're at war. Even the pundits on TV and the former president all saying, hey, we are incredibly close to World War III. And we're incredibly close to the dollar collapsing. We're incredibly close to the banks collapsing. So what I'm saying to you is we all need to wake up. And I know that if you're watching this video, chances are you are awake. Remember, as I said previously, 20 to 30% of the population is asleep and they are not waking up. They are part of the mass formation, part of the mass hypnosis. They are not going to wake up. There's nothing you can say, nothing you can do to really wake them up. Yes, if you keep speaking out, it'll stop the hypnosis, the mass formation, so to speak, from going deeper and to the point where they commit atrocities, putting people into concentration camps or worse. But as far as waking them up, it's probably not going to happen. What did I experience today? Around 10:30, I went to an auto parts store. I had to get an auto part. As soon as I pulled up, parked the car, looked out at now this is a strip mall, and so there's a sidewalk in front of the store, not on the street, but just in front of the store. And I noticed there were two young women, we'll call them young women, on the sidewalk, sitting on the sidewalk, facing each other. And first, I couldn't figure out, what are they doing sitting there at 10:30 in the morning? And, and as far as their age, I'm going to say in their early 20s. They could have been 20, they could have been 23, they could have been 19. And they looked over at me and they looked away, and they looked over at me and they looked away. But it seemed that they were putting on their makeup or helping each other put on makeup. Why they were sitting on a sidewalk, I have no idea. But then here's the kicker. They had masks on. They had their cloth mask across their face. One of them had it below the nose, of course. And I thought to myself, I am the closest one to them, and I am 15 feet away at least. There's nobody else even remotely close to them, and they are wearing a mask. This is evidence of mind control. When you see a mask in that situation, in any situation, but certainly in that situation, you are seeing pure and clear evidence of mind control. Okay, I got the part that I needed. I was driving out of the parking lot. As I'm driving away, I see a woman dressed pretty shabbily and smoking, and she, walked across, not that old. Then I see a woman coming into the parking lot walking, and this woman had red marks all over her face. Her eyes were just looking out, but there was nothing there. I mean, that vacant, empty stare. And she was like clumsily walking And I thought to myself, wow, that's as like that would be scary. That would be zombie. If that was 2 in the morning, that would be absolutely frightening. But at 10:30 in the morning, it's alarming. It's just really incredible. I want to go back to that story that I spoke about the other day, the tech person who was in San Francisco, stabbed to death at 2:30 in the morning. A few details about him. Not only was he part of, started Cash App and was part of Square and other things and was well regarded with the tech industry, he had left San Francisco, went to Miami and was, living and working there, apparently had 2 daughters, young daughters, and he went back to San Francisco for some business and he winds up being stabbed to death. Called 911, no help, no immediate help. There was someone in a car. He tried to get them to help. They drove away. This is what it is. Okay. This is what it is. And as I've said, I'm going to say it again. If you don't have to be out past midnight, you should not be out. But if you are out, or even during the day, I mean, out here, people are shooting at other people from their car into another car in broad daylight during rush hour traffic. I mean, it's completely out of control. Now, that's one way to get manners back into society. It's kind of the wild, wild west, right? Where you were back then, it was said that, everybody's got a gun and you were on your manners because you knew that anybody at any time could just pull their gun and shoot you. So you tipped your hat and you were pleasant and kind and watched your words. Then society got to the point where anything goes, where it's like you can say anything to anybody, anytime. What are they going to do about it? And now it's flipping back to this wild, wild west where it's like, hey, you better watch your manners. Don't beep your horn. I mean, I was driving just maybe 2 months ago, driving down the road, not a highway, just a street, a large street in one of the cities here. And a car cuts in front of another car. That car beeped their horn. And the person, who happened to be a female, put her arm out the window and flipped off the person behind her. Amazing. I mean, what makes that person with the finger think that that person behind them can't just drive up next to them and open fire, which happens, which would also be crazy. But it's like, let's watch our manners. Sometimes just having manners can keep us out of trouble, as well as don't be walking along, the streets in San Francisco or anywhere else at 2:30 in the morning alone if you can help it. I mean, there's just certain things. What it is discernment. And so discernment is having good judgment. And so we need to have better judgment. We need to have good judgment. And nowadays more than ever, because the attacks, the information attacks, the psychological warfare attacks, the propaganda attacks, the chemical attacks, the physical attacks, the emotional, mental attacks, the social attacks. Social distancing is a social, emotional attack. All these attacks are wearing people down. And so it's very important that you program your mind, train your body, train your mind with short meditations, and stay connected. Say your prayers. Think about what you're grateful for. Just the fact that you can breathe, just the fact that you have a roof over your head, just the fact that you have food. By the way, food is also under attack. So we're literally under attack from every direction. And more than ever before, you've got to stay centered, you've got to stay focused. And I would urge the people out there, I see a lot of people out there, hopefully not you, but people out there are addicted to many, many things. And there's a lot of things to be addicted to: alcohol, drugs, medications, anger, being addicted to sports, being addicted to entertainment, being addicted to your phone. being addicted to just gossip and social interaction. All these things are addicting. And it's really useful, really beneficial to break those, because your addictions will cost you. Your addictions will cost you money. Whatever you're addicted to is going to cost you more and more money. So I recommend that you figure out how to break your addictions. If you're addicted to food, start to break that addiction. Maybe you're not addicted to all food. Maybe you're just addicted to chocolate or cookies or tortilla chips or beer or alcohol or something like that. But whatever it is, make it a plan and a point to break these addictions. You can only get stronger and better. And you say, well, how am I going to do that? Well, there are ways. I'm not going to take the time in this video to point out the different ways, but there are ways, and you should absolutely take advantage of those. One way, I'll give you one. One way is whatever you're addicted to, you just stare at it. Stare at it. If it's a food, if it's something physical, stare at it for as long as it takes. It may take you half an hour. It may take you an hour. It may take you 2 or 3 hours just staring at something until that feeling goes away. But do it, and then do it again, and do it again, and do it again until you master it. So there's a lot happening right now. Every single day, there's more and more happening. And there are groups of people. There are people who are in denial, as I mentioned, people who are in denial. They don't see it, they don't hear it, they don't experience it, it doesn't affect them until it does. You know, it's kind of like being on the Titanic, right? When the Titanic hit the iceberg, you know, it was, okay, something happened, but it's okay. Let's just continue. Let's continue having dinner. Let's continue dancing. Let's continue doing whatever we're doing. Let's not worry about it. And then something started to happen, but apparently hours and hours and hours went by without any notice to the ship sinking. And then that famous phrase, which is gradually and then suddenly, gradually, then suddenly. And that's how it was. It was like all of a sudden, the ship sank a great deal very, very quickly. And even though there were hours and hours of nothing, all of a sudden there was a few minutes or an hour of something, and then literally 10 minutes of total collapse, total sinking. And that's probably how this is going to be. This is probably going to be, if you remember, March 17th, 2020, as I do, it was all of a sudden, hey, everything's closed tonight. Everything's closed, just like that. Closed now. There was no warning. It wasn't, hey, tomorrow it's going to happen. It wasn't, hey, next week it's going to happen. It's today. And it was the same way with Silicon Valley Bank. It was like, you know, they could have told you a day before. No, we'll tell you the day of. And so I'm just saying, prepare mentally more than anything else. I mean, yes, physically for sure. You want to be in shape. You want to get in shape. You want to stay in shape. But more than anything else, you want to get your mind, you want to get your emotions in shape, and you want to be grateful for everything you have. I certainly am. I'm very grateful for what I have. And anytime I'm not, I make it a point to get back on that track. It's very, very important. So that's it for today. I'm going to leave it right there. Do me a favor, if you don't mind. If you liked the information and want more, click like, hit the bell, subscribe, share, and I'm going to be having more things for you, more information, of course, but even more things that you can participate in, things that you can learn, things perhaps that you can buy that might help you. That'll be later on, but not right now. Just do your best to prepare. Let's make sure that you and those you care about are in the best place possible for what's about to come. See you soon.